Hey everybody. Chiastic structure gets its name from the Greek letter chi, which looks like our X. See, that's where we get the idea. So basically, with chiastic structure, you have a plot that's shaped like this big X you see in front of you. We're going to use this as a template. And the idea is that the events in the first half of the X are mirrored in the second half. So this yellow line that just showed up there, imagine that's a mirror right down the middle. So what you're going to see in the first half will be reflected and sometimes distorted, but still reflected in the second half. So if we have event A or language A or character A right here, we're going to see A prime happen on the opposite side. So if you have a character who is born right at this point in time, they might die right at the end. It's a reflection, but it's a distortion as well. And there's B and B prime and C and C prime. And then in theory, with chiastic structure, all this is funneling you right to that middle point right there. And that's what the main point of the story is going to be. That's the moral of the tale, as it were, if there were such a thing. So let's see how this plays out. We're going to look at chiastic structure and Lord of the Flies, because I know that's a story that you guys all know. So, A and A prime. Let's take a look at these. First event is the crash on the island. We don't actually see the crash, but we see the direct aftermath. And you look at, that's in chapter 1. If you look at A prime in chapter 12, they're rescued from the island. So there's your reflection, but it's a distorted reflection. They get on the island, and then they're rescued. Shortly thereafter, Piggy finds the conch, and they have a big meeting, and they vote for chief. Well, in chapter 11, in the A prime, the conch is destroyed. And on the same page that the conch is destroyed, Jack turns and says, "I'm chief." Okay, you have the same language, you have the same events reflected. Let's see if this continues. There is a fire in chapter 2. The fire on the mountain, they accidentally start while they're trying to light fires. In chapter 10, they can't remember what the fire is about, the whole rescue thing, which is so, in the forefront of their minds. In chapter 2, they can't remember it at the end. They build huts in chapter 3. In chapter 10, the huts are destroyed in a fight. The shelters actually collapse. In chapter 4, they kill their first pig. In chapter 9, they kill their first person. And that's Simon. And the language around the two, kill the pig, slit its throat, all that language, the chanting, and they close in a circle around it both times. The language is reflected. It's the same words are used, same images. So you see how this is all taking us to that middle point there. In chapter 5, there's a meeting. They talk a lot, and it's followed by Simon's insight. Maybe the beast is us. Maybe it's only us, he says. In chapter 8, they have another meeting, and right after that, Simon has a conversation with the Lord of the Flies, which confirms his thought that, yes, it is only us, it's all you, blah, blah, blah. All right, so now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. What is the point? I'm pretty much smack dab in the middle of the story. Chapter 7, page 112. Ralph's dreaming about his house, about all this stuff, snow and books, and going outside and playing, and all the toys he has in his room, and just safety and childhood and all this comfort stuff. And he concludes it by saying, everything was all right. Everything was good-humored and friendly. And right after that line, Jack and the hunters come crashing through the undergrowth and destroy his reverie. And here's what this means. The goodness of civilization is a dream. The savagery of society is the reality. And this is what the chiastic structure leads us to, because this is the thing that happens right in the middle. And everything just funnels us right to this point. Interesting idea. Take a look at Frankenstein, what you remember of Frankenstein. Get out your book maybe. See if you can find the middle point. What's the main point of the story? And then as you're reading the Odyssey, take a look. There's 24 chapters. So right around chapter 11 or 12 should be the midpoint. And you should see it reflect back on itself after chapters 11 and 12. I hope this is instructive. I hope it's interesting. We'll talk a lot more about this as the year continues, but I wanted to introduce it to you right now. Have a great day.